For any team, whenever they draft new rookies, they're always hoping that they're going to fit in really quickly and that they're going to be impressive while doing so. Well, for the Detroit Lions, their new rookies seem to have been there forever, and we're going to talk about which ones have been impressive so far. Stay tuned, everybody. We're not going anywhere.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10-5 end zone touchdown Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, all Detroit Lions friends, fans, and family members. Welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike. And as always, we're diving on in. So, folks, obviously we know that rookie minicamp has been going underway. We already know that there have been some clips. We've already seen some photos of what our new rookies are looking like in the Honolulu blue and silver. Primarily blue, but still, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. And when it comes to new rookies, there's always this, I would say, a little bit of, I would call it hesitation, a little bit of trying to figure out, okay, how are these guys going to fit in? How are they going to look once we actually start getting some sort of ability to view what they're doing in practice? How are they fitting in? How are they performing? What does it look like they're doing against, other guys that are trying to make the team? Because obviously rookie minicamp is not solely just for draft picks. It's obviously for the undrafted free agents. It's obviously also for guys that we sign to bring in for tryouts. So there's a lot of guys that are at rookie minicamp that, are trying to make the team. They're trying to impress. If not the Lions, they're trying to get at least some tape. They're trying to get something out there to where it's like, okay, maybe the Lions might not be able to take me, but maybe one of the other 31 teams might. And so far, we haven't seen a whole hell of a lot when it comes to, the Lions minicamp, but we have seen some things. We have heard some things. And it started making me wonder. I was like, okay, who exactly from the Lions minicamp has already started showing some impressive sights? Who is already showing that, hey, this is a guy that we should really be paying attention to. This is a guy that we can expect to see some good stuff when we actually get to, OTAs, when we start getting to training camp, things of that nature. And for me, the 3 guys that already are kind of really showing that are really starting to, give the indication that, hey, you know what? These are guys that we really potentially got some steals with. These are some guys that really could potentially do some damage for us. The 3 guys I'm talking about are Ahmed Hassan, Tate Rattlage, and Isaac Tesla. Now, that's not to say that the other guys haven't been impressive. That's not to say that the other guys can't do stuff and that, what, we should just abandon them or, what, we should just give up on them. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that so far, based upon what we're seeing from minicamp, these guys are already starting to show out a little bit. They're already starting to show stuff. I'm obviously not saying that, Tyleik Williams, hey, you know what? He's already not doing anything. There's obviously not much he can do because right now the Lions are taking things very, very slowly with him. They're taking things very cautiously with him because of the fact that he's nursing a hamstring injury, which obviously, one thing we've known about the Lions is that whenever a player has some sort of injury, whether it's a tweak, whether it's a sprain, whether it's a pull, whatever the thunder it might be, they take things slow, they take things cautiously because they do not want to risk aggravating the injury worse. So just understand exactly what perspective I'm coming from here when I'm talking about these 3 guys. I'm not trying to exclude Lovett. I'm not trying to exclude Jackson. I'm not trying to exclude Frazier. I'm not trying to exclude Williams. I'm just simply saying that based upon what we're seeing so far, out of the limited little window that we've gotten so far, these are the guys that are really showing out quite a bit in minicamp. Now, let's talk about each one of these guys in pretty quick succession here. Ahmed Hassan. ever since we drafted this guy, I've already had kind of like a soft spot for him because this is a guy I think that just absolutely fits what the Lions are all about. This is a guy that is extremely hardworking. This is a guy that truly, truly is excited to be there. And this is a guy that absolutely wants to prove, he wants to give the Lions the evidence that, hey, drafting me where you drafted me in the 6th round, not only was it a steal, but you guys are going to get a player that is really going to give you guys a huge return on your investment. And so far, that's already what we're seeing from minicamp. But when we're talking about these rookies, it's not just what we've seen in the little snippets of clips. It's not just what we've seen in terms of the photos. It's also what we're hearing not only from the players, what we're hearing from the coaches or the personnel, but also what we're hearing from people that are actually going to practice, that are actually talking, and they're actually observing what these players are doing. With Hassan, what we're already hearing a lot of people saying that are at the practices, that are observing what's going on, is that the guy is already just absolutely working his tail off. The hustle, the burst, the simple all-out, effort that he gives, it's always there. From what I've heard from a lot of people that have talked about what's been going on at minicamp, Hassan is just relentless, which again, if you go back to what Ray Agnew said, he said that, listen, this is a guy who is relentless. This is a guy who's going to give you 100% of whatever he has every single time that he's out there on the field. And that is exactly what the Lions have seen so far. He's extremely motivated. And the one thing also that we've heard is that this guy is a sponge. Like, he is always trying to learn. He's trying to get better. He's trying to get as good as he possibly can, as fast as he possibly can. And he loves to be coached. And again, I know this doesn't sound like a big deal, but it is a big deal. Think about it. When rookies come out of college, sometimes the more prominent ones, sometimes the ones that have been like, the star of a program, they've been that way ever since they were in high school, they've been under their dad's thumb and all that nonsense. These are guys that typically are a little bit cocky, they're a little bit arrogant, and they don't think they have to learn as much. With Hassan, that is the exact opposite. He is always trying to learn more. He's always trying to get better. Again, there have been reports that, when he's done with a drill, DC Kelvin Shepherd, he'll come over and he'll be like, hey, you know what? I'm trying to tell you this. I'm trying to tell you that. I'm trying to give you little pointers. I'm trying to get you better. And he's just over there. He's absorbing as much as he can. He's nodding his head. He's listening. He is trying to get in every single bit of information he can to just get himself that little bit better. Try and make that rep a little bit more successful. And that is something that to me is a huge deal when we're talking about rookies, because I want guys that want to learn. I want guys that love to be coached. I want guys that are constantly doing whatever they can to get better. And the best example I can give here is that obviously when we drafted Hassan, there were some people that were afraid we were going to get another James Houston here. But it's like James Houston was smaller. He wasn't as athletic. Hassan is a complete opposite in that department, but he's also he's a lot better in terms of being coached. Again, when we heard about the fact that the Lions were trying to use Houston kind of like as a dual edge rusher and linebacker, it didn't seem to work very well. And I'm not saying it's because Houston didn't want to learn, but maybe the inability to learn, maybe the unwillingness or the full-on investment in trying to learn, that seemed to be a problem when it came to Houston. That is not the problem with Hassan. He is just trying his absolute damn level best to get as good as fast as he possibly can. And I mean, whenever you've listened to the guy talk, like, he is just super excited to be there. I mean, for crying out loud, he's talking about the freaking snack bar like it's the greatest thing in the world. And he's talking about the lobster and mac and cheese. And he's just absolutely like a kid in a candy shop, just absolutely going nuts over all of the things that the The workout room is in great shape. He talks about how the coaches are awesome. He talks about how the culture is great. I mean, this is a guy that is a perfect embodiment of the type of player that the Lions value and prize. And just based off of the little bit of information, the little bit of things that we've already seen, I already feel like this guy is going to be an instant success for the Lions. He's probably going to take a little bit of time to develop, but I would not at all be surprised if we're already going to see him on the field at some point during the season, maybe sooner rather than later, and he's already going to start giving the Lions some returns on investment. And again, that's what you want to see out of these guys, whether it's in the first round, whether it's in the 7th round. The Lions are looking for guys that can instantly start showing them, hey, we made the right decision drafting you. And Hassan definitely shows that. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Now, let's move on to the next guy. Tate Rattlage. I mean, dude, this guy already, first and foremost, is just a monster. He is a mountain of a man. It's hard as hell to not notice him at practice because of just how physically big and imposing he is. But the other thing about him that is very relatable to what Hassan is doing is this guy's ability, this guy's willingness, this guy's, flexibility, if you will, to work across multiple positions, his ability to learn, his ability to be coached. Because one of the things that we already figured when we got Rattlage was that this guy was going to primarily be competing for center. But we're already hearing out of minicamp that this guy's cross-training at both guard and center. And that is, again, something that I'm really happy about. I'm really excited about because it's like, listen, one of the things we know the Lions value when it comes to their offensive linemen is their ability to play more than one position, their ability to wear more than one hat. And that is especially true when it comes to the interior offensive lineman. Hey, can you play both guards? Can you play center? Can you be a guy that we can literally throw into any position that we need if the situation calls for it? Now, understand exactly what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that the Lions are all of a sudden going to move Rattlage to the backup center role. That would be just nonsense. But they want to make sure that, hey, if for whatever reason we have a need to where maybe Frank has an injury, he has to step out, we can move you into center so that way we can keep this show rolling. And again, the fact that Rattlage, even though he never played center while he was at Georgia in an actual game, but he did do it in practice, the fact that he's being willing, the fact that he is like, okay, I want to be the best version of myself that I possibly can be. I can play both left guard and right guard. I can play center. I can do whatever my coaches ask me to do. Again, that willingness, that desire to be as good as you possibly can be, that is what the Lions want. They want guys that are hard workers. They want guys that are always giving their best. And in that case, when we're talking about it in terms of being able to play multiple positions, that's exactly what we're seeing out of Rattlage. Again, he's going to play guard. There's no question about that. But his ability to be cross-trained, to be cross-fit in multiple positions on the interior, that's something that I'm truly excited to see. Now, when we're taking a look at him as far as the clips, one of the things I'm already noticing about him is he's got good form, he's got good body control, which for a guy that is 6'6" tall and over 300 pounds, that's a lot harder said than done. To have the control of all of that physical space that you actually encounter and you take up, that is something that is really hard to do. So it really shows that this guy has the ability to be a day one starter for the Lions, which, again, that gives the Lions options. And on the interior offensive line, that is something they absolutely want. That's something they value. That is something that they are desperately trying to improve. Because, again, let's call it what it is. Losing Kevin Zeitler, that hurt. He was a really great guard, had a lot of experience. That's not something that's easily replaced. But when you take a look at what Rattlage is doing so far, you can already see that he has the tools, he has the willingness, and on top of that, he has more than enough of the physical gifts that is needed to make a strong push to be a day one starter at either guard position. Now, obviously, he's got competition. Obviously, there's Glasgow still there. There's obviously Mahogany. Those guys are definitely going to compete to probably be the day one starters at guard. My money is probably going to be Glasgow and Rattlage are going to be the day one starters. Whether or not Rattlage is going to go to left guard or right guard, I don't know. but I'm willing to bet money that those are going to be the two starters. Mahogany is going to be the direct backup to either one of them, and then from there, well, who knows? Probably going to have Frazier somewhere in there, along with some other guys. So that's Rattlage. Now, let's talk about Tesla. Tesla is probably the one guy that we have seen probably the most clips out of so far. And obviously that makes sense because whenever we see a wide receiver in camp, there's going to be tons of highlights, there's going to be tons of clips. We're going to see a lot of what the receivers are doing. And the one thing that we're already seeing out of him is this guy is very impressive with how he does his routes, how he does his footwork. And again, one of the things that we heard out of Ray Agnew and out of Brad Holmes is that this guy catches the ball, he catches passes with his hands. Again, I played tight end, I played some receiver when I was in high school. One of the things that they always teach you is if you can manage it, do not try and catch the ball with your body. Try and catch the ball with your hands. That's always a position of strength. It's going to serve you a hell of a lot better than if you're trying to catch passes primarily with your body. And one of the things that we've already noticed is that virtually any time I've seen that guy catch a ball, he's never used his body. He always uses his hands. That's exactly what you want to see out of a receiver. High pointing the ball, using the hands to go out and get passes, not waiting for the ball to come to you. You go and get it. And that, to me, is something that really speaks volumes to the type of player, the type of receiver that he's going to be. You want guys that are going to use the skills that they already have, get better at those skills, and continue to build upon the foundation that you already have set from when you were in college. Now, I know some people have also noted that, oh, well, you know what? This guy's not showing a whole hell of a lot of separation when he's with cornerbacks, blah, 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 blah. Okay, folks, let's understand something here. Wide receivers are not always going to get a ton of separation when they're with the cornerback. First and foremost, that's in relation to where the cornerback is. That's also in relation to when the quarterback throws the ball, how the ball's getting to the wide receiver. It's not all on the wide receiver to make the separation. Sometimes the quarterback has to help them out by making sure that they deliver passes on time, making sure the passes are accurate, and all that other happy nonsense. So when people are trying to say, oh, well, Tesla's not making separation, that's not entirely on him. But what really matters is, okay, maybe there's not a whole hell of a lot of separation, but what are you doing with no separation? Are you giving up on the play, or are you still making the play? Tesla's still making the plays. He's still making the catches. He's still doing his job. And for a rookie, that's impressive. For a rookie to be like, listen, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to let the fact that I don't have any separation be a detriment to me trying to do what I need to do. He's going out there and he's doing his job, and he's doing it exceptionally well as a rookie. And his ability to make contested catches, I already talked about this in previous episodes about him. One of his greatest attributes, I think, is going to be his ability to make contested catches. Not only his ability because of the fact that he catches passes with his hands, but it's like, listen, you get into these tight windows, you get into these tight coverages, he will come down with the ball way more often than not. And that's exactly what you want to see out of receivers. You want to know that, hey, I can trust this guy that maybe the receiving window is not that big. Maybe it's not that great. Maybe it's not exactly what I as a quarterback want, but it's still the best option. I'm going to trust you to make the play. And that's exactly what Tesla's doing. Because let's think about it here. The guy that's throwing to him in camp, that's not Jared Goff. That's some other rookie quarterback that's trying to make his way onto the roster. If it's Goff, let's consider something here. Goff is not going to, try and make things more difficult for the receiver. He's going to make things as easy as possible, which is going to make Tesla's life a lot easier. So for me, everything that I'm seeing out of Tesla, his impressive routes, his impressive footwork, great use of hands, excellent hand-eye coordination, making plays when the coverage is tight. These are all things that I'm very excited and I'm very impressed with this young man. And again, you take a look at his story. It's like, dude, how can you not root for him? The guy has been a Lions fan since he was growing up. He showed up to his meeting with the Lions wearing a Lions jersey. The dude clearly loves being with the Lions. And like he said, he's like, I was born to be a Lion. This is where I'm supposed to be. And it's like, dude, it seems like all of these guys, no matter who they are, but especially the three that I've talked about, it's like, yes, these guys are Lions down to their core. Whether it's Hassan and how he absolutely just fits the culture. Whether it's Rattlage and his ability to, like I said with Hassan, be a cross trainer. The fact that he's trying to learn as much as he can like Hassan, but also the fact that he's got a lion's tattoo on his arm, and the fact that he just embodies that good old boy rough adage about him. And then with Tesla, like the backstory I just talked about, these guys just are perfect. They are chips off the old block. They fit in nicely. They are very impressive with what they've been doing at camp so far. And I'm super excited to see what we're going to get out of these guys as we go further into the offseason. I really, really am. And I think you should be too. But anyway, folks, I just wanted to talk about this really quickly because this is obviously what's going around the water cooler right now. So having said that, I'm going to end this episode and say thank you all for watching another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe. If by chance you subscribed in the past and forgot to do so, I want to highly encourage y'all, please make sure you hit that bell notification icon so you guys never miss any more content I push out. Also want to encourage y'all to share the content. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you possibly can. And with that, I hope you all enjoyed the content. I hope I was able to give you guys a different perspective, or maybe build upon a perspective you already had. Gave you guys some really good information. That's what I truly try to do with every episode. Whether it's the first time you've watched me, you guys have been watching me forever and a day. Hope you all got something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless, my friends. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.